That's my Kiss introduction. That's from Calling Dr. Love, Paul Stanley's introduction to Calling Dr. Love on Alive 2. I can't talk or sing or do the stage banter like Paul Stanley, but I try. I make an effort. I have a lot to say. I'm going to talk about Kiss today. I'm bored. I started talking, it's been a while since I've talked in my house in front of the camera. I started doing this last year with this pandemic because I was bored. There was nothing to do. I'm not bored now. I'm bored today, but there's lots of things to do. It's a very different situation than it was last year when I started doing these home videos in my house talking about discographies and albums that I love and things like that. It's been 6 months or so since I've done I Love This Album videos that I did, and last year before that I went through some band discographies, and I'm going to repeat myself. I'm going to do that today. As you could tell by the intro and by my shirt, I'm going to talk about Kiss, and also by the title of the YouTube video. I'm here to talk about Kiss. I have a lot to say today, a lot to unpack. Some people would say that. I would never talk like that, but some people would say that they have a lot to unpack. I'm just going to say I have a lot of things to talk about today. I'm not sure where to start. I am going to go back and go through Kiss's entire discography again. This will be a version 2.0, a modified version of my review of the whole Kiss discography. So that'll be at the end, so stay tuned for that. That's going to be a long time. But I've been in major Kiss mode. I have a couple of new big Kiss related things to talk about. Not that big, but I lost a year of Kiss fandom recently. I discovered that. I'll explain that. But I just really feel like talking about Kiss. I'm in major Kiss mode. This happens to me a couple of times a year with different bands. It happens a lot with Motorhead. I guess Motorhead a lot of bands, but Kiss too. Kiss probably more than anybody, where I just get, I always listen to Kiss or Motorhead or Metallica, Slayer. These are bands that I love, but sometimes I really feel like that's all I want to listen to. And this has been going on with Kiss for me now for about 45 years, not 46 years. I'm going to explain that. I lost a year, and it's just gotten bigger and bigger. And after all these years, it's still stronger than ever. My love for Kiss, just how big a part of my life they are. So I'm going to talk about them. Now, the first big thing is, I finally got a Kiss tattoo. I don't know how I can't see this myself on the camera, but maybe if I go like this. So this is Ace, Gene, Paul, Peter. Alphabetical. I always called them by their first names, and if it's something like this, I need something to put them in order, and I think, well, what am I going to do? By favorite? Do I put the favorite up here, my least favorite here? No. So I went Ace, Gene, Peter, Paul. Paul, Peter. So I got this tattoo just a couple days ago. Today is Sunday, and I got this on Thursday. So I got it a few days ago. My first Kiss tattoo. I guess it was kind of in the making, but this I've been planning on getting this for months and months, and things happened that I couldn't get it. I was going to get it about a month or a month and a half ago, but then I was going to the beach, and you need a couple of weeks for it to heal before you can go in the water or in the sand or the sun. So I didn't get it then. I wanted to get it some time ago. Now, the other thing that I was going to talk about, I was recently on there's a great podcast called, one of many podcasts, of course, called Talk Louder. And I was on this podcast. I recorded that in August, and my episode was on maybe around early or middle of October, sometime like that. And this is a podcast it's two guys. Jason McMaster, for God's sake, the singer of Dangerous Toys, who created one of my favorite albums ever, the first Dangerous Toys album in 1989. I've said it for, 32 years? One of then and now and forever. All that time was and is one of my favorite albums of that era genre ever, which is one of my favorite albums ever, the first Dangerous Toys album. So Jason has this podcast, and he's in many other bands. Broken Teeth, whose discography I did last year, Godzilla Motor Company, Igniter, Cash is King. That's a really cool project that they just put out their first album earlier this year. It's a really, really good album. So Jason McMaster is a co-host of this podcast, along with a guy called Dave Glessner, who is a music journalist, a metal journalist. They're both Texas-based. And they have this podcast, and they started their podcast, I think, earlier this year. And it was just the two of them talking about music. And then eventually they started bringing guests on. They've had big guests. They've had, last week, they had Frank Bello from Anthrax, another one of my favorite bands. Frank Bello was on. J.J. French, Twisted Sister guitarist, was on. This week, Phil Lewis, singer from LA Guns. Simon Wright from AC/DC. They had a member of AC/DC on. And Dio, Simon Wright was in Dio. And Danko Jones was on that podcast. And I was on that podcast. That was really, really cool for me to talk to Jason. We talked for an hour and a half, or an hour and 40 minutes. If you would like to watch that podcast, you can just, in the little search field on the YouTube machine, put in Talk Louder Podcast. And you can even put in my name, Dan Bowski, if you want to find it more directly, or you can just find their channel and watch some other cool stuff. If you like to watch people sit around and talk about music, because that's what I did with these guys. And when I did that podcast, of course, we talked about Kiss. And not that I ever need more motivation or more reason to get into Kiss or to listen to Kiss or to have Kiss in my radar again, because it's all the time. But that really, ever since then, I've been really, really into Kiss mode, maybe more than normal. Because those guys, I know, especially Jason, he has a similar story to me with Kiss. And Frank Bello did too. And when Frank Bello did their podcast, he said that Kiss Alive was his first album, which it was for me too. You can see me talking about that in the podcast, and I'm going to talk about that today too. So that again got me into Kiss mode even more. And then something else kind of related to the podcast, and I'm going to get my phone to check this. Two things related to that. I kind of like this. This is something that my mother likes to know what I'm doing in my life. I'm 52 years old, but she's still my mother. I'm still her son. She likes to know these things. So I sent her the link to that podcast, and I thought maybe she would like to see it. And she watched it, and she sent me this email, and I'm going to read it now. Part of it I mentioned in the podcast that my Aunt Kathy gave me that album, that Kiss Alive. I'll talk about that later, but there it is. My Aunt Kathy gave me Kiss Alive for Christmas in 1975. I'll get to that too. And so she watched it, and she sent me this email, and she says, I did not know that Aunt Kathy gave you that Kiss album, although I most certainly always remember your getting it and your reaction to it. This was in 75, 76 for Christmas. Continuing with my mother, she says, it stunned me that you were only 6 years old and had such a strong reaction to such crazy music. And you did for years and years. I remember John Lapp. John Lapp was my best friend when I was 6 or 7 years old, when I lived in Montreal in 75, 76. I remember John Lapp liked it as much as you did, at least he did at the time. Now in the podcast I mentioned, people always talk about music or something, a movie, something changed their life, which I think is sometimes probably a bit of an exaggeration. And I mentioned in the podcast, I don't think it changed my life. It didn't make me pick up a guitar and become a musician, or it didn't, something like that. But maybe it influenced my personality, to my mother's chagrin. Now she says, you don't think it influenced your life, but I know for a fact that it absolutely did. For years, I hated Kiss for that reason. Thanks, Mom. I guess she thought Kiss was a bad influence on me. I remember Kiss was new then, and so was that kind of music, and I hated it. It seemed evil to me and millions of others. There had never been music anywhere close to resembling it. So that was my mother's email to me regarding my appearance on the Talk Louder podcast. This was just a week ago or something. She sent this. Now, getting back to my Kiss history and the fact that I somehow lost a year. If you're wondering how this happened, as I said, I've been really into Kiss mode for the last couple of months, and I've been watching a lot of podcasts and Kiss videos, maybe something like what I'm doing now. And there was one I was watching, and I can't remember what it was or how they got talking about it, but they were showing their collection, and somebody showed I don't know if it was the first album, the first Kiss album, or the originals. You know, they had this package called the Originals, which was the first 3 albums. And somebody else on the podcast asked him if that was an original one or the second pressing. And I think whoever it was said, well, how do I know? And they said, there's something, I don't know if the barcode is different or the track listing is slightly different or something. Which made me realize now, for years and years, going back to my mother, probably in the 90s, when these things came up, when you talked with your friends or people about you know, how you discovered music or Kiss or bands or anything like that, this came up, and I asked my mother, and I always wondered why. No, I distinctly remember getting Kiss Alive, and I'm going to hold it up here. I remember getting this for Christmas, and I remember it was at my grandparents' house, and at the time my grandparents lived, they had a farm, because I'm from Canada, and everybody has a farm in Canada. And my grandparents had this farm, and I remember getting it for Christmas last year, because I remember the farmhouse and everything. And so I guess in the 90s at some point I was trying to you know, fill in the timeline, find out where and when everything happened. And so I asked my mother, and my grandparents didn't live in that farm for very long, so I asked my mother, who's good with this kind of things, I asked her when my grandparents, which are her parents, when they lived in this farm, and she said in like 75, 76 or something. And so I determined that the 2 Christmases I spent there were Christmas 1975 and 76. So I thought, okay, I can narrow it down. I know I got this Kiss Alive in 1975 or 1976 for Christmas. And I always just, that was the best I could do, was narrow it down to 2 years. And I always just assumed that it was 75 because the album came out in 75, September, I think, 75. And I guess I just assumed that because if it came out a few months earlier, that probably by the time I got it from my Aunt Kathy at Christmas in 1975, it was a new album, and it was, you know, if you went into record stores at the time, they probably had it on display. So it just made sense that I got it in 1975 for Christmas. So for years and years, and I've had this conversation many times or talked about this, I've been telling people that I got into Kiss in 1975 at Christmas. But when I saw these guys on this podcast I saw different versions of different pressings of different albums, it made me realize that for all the years that I've had this, it has this, it's not a sticker, it's printed on the jacket. It has Alive, and it says special price. Now you can see it's in French because I got it in Canada. And it says special price, 2 records or 2 discs, includes 8-page booklet. So that made me think, well, maybe I wonder if this was what kind of pressing that was. So I went on Discogs. This was just a few months ago, maybe a month and a half ago. You maybe know Discogs. It's a very comprehensive, very thorough website with just about every piece of music that's ever been released. You can find it on Discogs. And I looked this up, and it turns out that the pressing in Canada, if you look at, because you can look at them by Brazil, Japan, United States, Germany, Canada, you can look at the different pressings, you know, some were slightly different, things like that. So I discovered that this, the first Canadian pressing didn't have this when it came out in 1975. This one only came out with this in the corner, came out in 1976. So for all those years, I was telling people I got into Kiss in 1975, at Christmas in 1975. It turns out that it was Christmas 1976 that I got into Kiss. So now I have to change my story. So I have 1 year less of Kiss fandom. So this Christmas, next month, it'll be 45 years that I've been into Kiss. And then after this, I do remember getting them in order. I had, after this came Destroyer. I remember my aforementioned friend, John Lapp, he had Destroyer. And he had the little Kiss. It was a purple, about this big, a purple remote control van. And on the sides of the van, it had a sticker of the cover of Destroyer. He had that. I didn't have too many Kiss toys. I had kissed the trading cards in like 1977 or 78. I had, not the whole collection, but I had some of them. So my friend John Lapp had that, and I remember, so I had Destroyer, and then I assume I had them in the order. I had Rock and Roll Over and Love Gun. I'll talk about those shortly. And the soul albums and everything like that. And I also remember very well you used to be able to buy back then, you could buy these posters. I guess they were about this big maybe. And you could buy them in department stores. Woolco, if anybody remembers Woolco, or stores like that. And they were blank. They were colored by, not by numbers, but you bought the poster, and I think it came with a pack of markers, 6 or 8 or 4 different colors, I don't know. And I remember I had the color, it was blank. It was just an outline like this, like Ace Frehley's eyes here, just an outline of the Rock and Roll Over cover. And I remember coloring it in with these, are they magic markers? Not the real thick markers, but like a pen marker. And so I remember, I wish there are a lot of Kiss things that I wish I still had that are long gone, decades since gone. But I had that. So that's Kiss in my life the last 3 months or so. I've just been listening to Kiss a lot, and they've really more than ever been on my mind. And I guess it's pretty cool for me to think that after 45 years, they can still summon these really feelings for me, taking me back to my childhood and being so excited about music. I still get that with some other bands too, and even with some new bands. I still get very excited about music, and I still love going to concerts. And speaking of concerts, I'm gonna do the reviews of all the Kiss albums, all of them. I'm not going to do track by track for all of them like I did with the I Love This album, but I am going to talk about each album. It's going to take a long time. But before that, my Kiss concert history, I'm probably repeating myself from when I did when I went through their discography last year in May or something like that, year and a half ago. But the first time I saw Kiss live was on the Asylum tour. Asylum came out in September 1985, and I saw them on that tour with King Cobra. King Cobra opened for Kiss, and of course I loved it. At that point, I'd been going to concerts for a couple of years, but that was really cool for me to see Kiss. I think Asylum was maybe not considered their best tour, but it was still pretty cool to see them for the first time. I was 16 years old, and I guess that, by the way, going back to getting alive, if I got it in 1976, I would have just turned 7 years old, not 6 years old, as I've thought for 20 or 30 years. My birthday's in November. It was just a couple of weeks ago, so I had just turned 7 years old at Christmas 1976. So I saw Kiss on Asylum tour. Then I saw them again on Crazy Nights tour in '87, and then again on Hot in the Shade twice. I saw them twice on that tour, including one of my favorite Kiss shows ever. The first time I saw them on that tour was they were opening for Whitesnake in Toronto at the C&E Grandstand, and I guess they weren't too happy about being in an opening position. And I don't know if it was just me or them, but I think it was the band. They just felt like they really had something to prove. They didn't like opening for Whitesnake, and one of the few concerts I've seen, I would say, where the opener, I hate to say this, it's such a cliche that people say this, that the opening band blew away the headliners, which is bullshit. I think for a lot of people, maybe don't understand, not that I'm an authority on this, but just because you like a band better than just because you like an opening band better than the headline band, that doesn't mean that they blew them away. For me, a band blowing another band away is because they were just better. Like the whole room felt that the opening band was better. And there were a lot of people that left after Kiss and didn't stick around for Whitesnake, including me. I think I watched 2 or 3. I watched a few Whitesnake songs, and I don't know if I was doing it out of rebellion to walk out, but one of the very, very, I can remember 2 other ones that I've left early for concerts. One of them because it was a festival. This was just a few years ago. It was pouring rain. I'd been there for 12 hours, and Deep Purple was playing, and Scorpions were going to play next, and I left. I just couldn't stand it anymore. And another one. I'm going to keep this on Kiss. So it's twice on Hot in the Shade. And then maybe it's hard to say, my favorite concert ever was seeing Kiss on the convention tour. They did not an unplugged, but an acoustic. If you're watching this, you know about Kiss. You know this tour they did in 1995. They called it the Kiss Convention. They did, I don't know how many shows, 15 or 20. And they just played acoustically, and they took a request. They played, and I saw them in Toronto at the Toronto Hilton Hotel. They played 40 songs or partial songs. That was very, very exciting to see that. I met Gene Simmons. I got a picture with him. I'd met Paul Stanley. Actually, it was that day when I saw them opening for Whitesnake. I met Paul Stanley that day very briefly. And so that Kiss convention acoustic show was a good time to be a Kiss fan. 94, 95, and then into the reunion in 96. That was a fun time to be a Kiss fan. And then I saw them 3 times on the reunion tour. I saw them in Toronto. And then the next year, Hamilton and Buffalo, New York. So I saw them 3 times on that tour. And then didn't see them again until... And it was my next one and my last one as of now. The last time I saw them again was 2010 in Mexico. They played a couple of nights in Mexico City, and I saw the first night on the Sonic Boom tour. And by that point, well, and up to now, Paul Stanley's voice is not very good, but it was cool to see them again, and I hope to see them again on this tour. I know Paul Stanley is a shell of what he used to be. But I don't care, and I really think this will be the end for Kiss. They're in their 70s now. Gene is 71. Paul Stanley will be 70 on January 20th, 2022. I know all the Kiss birthdays, and I just can't see them going. And especially with the way things are now, I don't think they'll go on. So I think they will be done. So I hope Kiss. They played her a couple of years ago as part of a big festival, and I passed. There's no way I was going to pay to see Kiss play a festival with a bunch of bands I didn't care about. It's either pouring rain or it's really hot. You're in the sun all day, and you're a million miles away, to quote Gene from Great Expectations, track number 4 or 5 from Destroyer, which I'll talk about. You're a million miles away. Let me get my cat. And the sound is usually not very good in festivals, and you have, you got to stay there all day, and it's buy overpriced food and drinks. So there was no way I was going to go to that. But if Kiss does come back here and they headline and they do their own show in 2022, I guarantee I will go. I don't care about Paul Stanley's voice. I need to see Kiss one more time. If they don't come and I don't see them, and the last time I saw them was 2010, ni modo, as they say in Mexico, I guess. That's it. So now I'm going to, I think that's all that I can say about Kiss. Now I'm going to go to their discography, and like an idiot, like an unprepared, complete unprofessional, I left the CDs over here. I should have had them with me. I'm going to continue talking, because I don't want to cut, then I have to put it all together, and it takes an extra couple of minutes. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to get my stack of Kiss CDs, at least the ones that I have now, and I'll point out that I don't have, when I moved to Mexico 15 years ago, I didn't bring all of my CDs with me. I think at one point, I maybe had around 2,000, or I've bought 2,000 records and CDs. When I moved to Mexico 15 years ago, when I still listened to CDs, I could only bring a certain amount with me, and I just brought the first up to Alive 2. So actual physical CDs, that's all I have now. But I know all their material very well, and I can do them. So I'm going to start with the first one, of course. This is Kiss. This came out in February 1974. I didn't get this until after. The first one, as I mentioned, I ever got was Alive, and then I went back and got them. So this didn't, even though this is their first album, this didn't have as big an impact on me, maybe as it would have if it had been my first album. But it's considered a classic. I would say, how many of the songs on here? Strutter, Firehouse, maybe Cold Gin, 3, Deuce, 4, Black Diamond, 5. 5 out of 10 songs are staples in the Kiss set list. So this is their... I can't say, now about my favorite Kiss album, if you're wondering. It definitely is one of the first 6, the first classic Kiss CDs. I can never pick one. I can make a case for each one being my favorite. Although I think the one that I've said the most often that is my favorite is probably Love Gun, but I'm not sure. So this one, yeah, Strutter, Nothing to Lose, Firehouse Cold Gin, Let Me Know. I'll mention my favorite song I think on each album. Let Me Know is maybe my favorite on this first Kiss album. Kissin' Time, Deuce, Love Theme from Kiss, 100,000 Years, Black Diamond. Very different if you're talking about the live version, because of all the songs from the first three albums, Kiss, Hotter Than Hell, and Dress to Kill, that were on Alive, every single one, all 16 tracks, the live versions are infinitely better than the studio versions from any of those albums. I think any Kiss fan would agree. That's almost like not even debatable. Maybe 100,000 Years might be my favorite on this album if you took it from a live standpoint. But listening to this album, and I listened to it yesterday. I went out for about 7 or 8 kilometers walk yesterday and listened to this one and Hotter Than Hell and Dress to Kill. And today I did the same thing, about 7 or 8 kilometers, and did the next three after Alive 2, Destroyer, Rock and Roll Over, Love Gun. So a lot of people would say this is their favorite. I can't say that it is or it isn't, but it is. It's a Kiss classic. This one is. So moving on to the next one. This is Hotter Than Hell. A lot of people don't like the way this sounds, and it does sound very strange. You almost can't even hear any cymbals. The drums are very muddy. You can't hear cymbals. It is a very strange sounding album. I can't say that, you know, I've had this discussion with Kiss nerds before and Kiss fans, and people say, well, I wish that they had re-record. I wish they would re-record this, or remastering wouldn't do anything, but or they just wish that it had sounded better. Again, I can't really say. I mean, I love this album, so I don't know if I could love it more if it sounded different. Maybe I wouldn't like it as much. Now, just looking at this off the top of my head, I think I like this better than the first album. Got to Choose, which for me, I've always thought, I don't know if always, but at least since I was old enough to think about these kind of things, I thought Got to Choose was a strange way to open an album. I love it though. Got to Choose is a killer song. Parasite, Going Blind, Hotter Than Hell, Let Me Go Rock and Roll. All the Way, and then side 2, if it was a record, All the Way, Watching You, Mainline, Coming Home Strange Ways. Fantastic, just phenomenal album. Favorite on this one, maybe Watching You, and even Mainline. Now, I typically, my least favorite songs on I think all the Kiss albums, Sorry Peter, but are Peter Criss songs. Mainline I love. That's a really good Peter Criss song. Strange Ways, the last song, I know a lot of Kiss fans love it. I like it. I love Gene's vocals in the choruses. Yeah, Watching You is probably my favorite on this album. All the Way, that's a great song. That's a very, I don't like underrated, overrated, but maybe All the Way is an overlooked Kiss song. It's one that they never, I think they played it once or twice. They did a tour in 2004 where they did some, I guess you would call deep cuts, and they played All the Way once or twice on that tour. I love that song. All the Way is excellent. Never, and I don't know why it was never in this. Why they never played it. It's a good rockin'. To me, I can't say that I like it better than, say, Got to Choose or Hotter Than Hell. Hotter Than Hell, at least for live, I think All the Way is a more would be more of a crowd pleaser than Hotter Than Hell or Got to Choose. That's what I think. Maybe these guys in Kiss don't like it as much. Maybe that's why they never played it. But I love All the Way. So there we go. That's Hotter Than Hell. Love it. Next, of course, is Dress to Kill, and there it is there. And if you notice, these first three albums have photographs. They're all photographs, which changed for the next three studio albums. I'll maybe talk about that, or maybe not. Who cares? Now looking at this again, I think, man, how can this not be my favorite? Room Service, Two-Timer, Ladies in Waiting, Getaway, Rock Bottom. Come On and Love Me, Anything for My Baby, She, Love Her All I Can, and Rock and Roll All Night. This one I didn't get until, if I remember correctly, I didn't get this until like 1985. I got the record in 1985. I met my good friend Pete at the beginning of the school year in September 1985, and he was a big Kiss fan. And at that point, for some reason, I didn't have Dress to Kill. I had all the other ones before that, but I don't know why I didn't have Dress to Kill. And if I remember correctly, I went to his house and he had Dress to Kill, and I couldn't believe Room Service and Anything for My Baby. I couldn't, those instantly shot to the top of my favorite Kiss albums, favorite Kiss songs. I couldn't believe, I knew the songs on here that they played on Alive, Rock Bottom, Come On and Love Me, Rock and Roll All Night, anything else, She, but I couldn't believe how good Room Service and Anything for My Baby are, and I still love them. And this is another one. Peter Criss has Getaway on this one, and I like that song a lot too. As far as Peter Criss songs go, it again is maybe my least favorite on this album, but still a great song. Getaway is. I've got to get away, to leave this. Room Service. Dun, 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 dun. I'm feeling low, no place to go, and I'm thinking that I'm gonna scream because a hotel all alone is not a rock and roll star's dream. Oh, I love that song. And Two-Timer and Ladies in Waiting, those are great too. Those were songs that were hidden gems for me until around 1985. My baby's a two-timer. Oh, I love it. Oh, this album is great. Come On and Love Me is pretty different than the live version. You can hear some acoustic guitar. I guess they doubled the electric in the. You can hear some acoustic guitar there. Just kind of fills it out a little bit. Favorite on this one. And Rock Bottom has that great acoustic guitar beginning. Amazing, and I a lot of songs have these acoustic guitar beginnings, but oh man, Rock Bottom, the acoustic guitar beginning there. Then Metallica did it with Fight Fire with Fire, and Battery, Exodus with 30 Seconds, which is kind of an intro to No Love, I think, and Death Angel on Lords of Hate, and it became a kind of a trendy thing maybe in the 80s in metal, to put an acoustic guitar. But all those intros that had acoustic guitar, and then as Paul Stanley says, now it gets rough when they got a little bit heavier. Of all those songs, Rock Bottom, it's one of them. I don't know if it's my favorite, but I really love that Rock Bottom intro. Anyway, going back, favorite on this one. Man, my first instinct is to say She. I could make a case also for Anything for My Baby still, and Room Service. Two-Timer and Ladies in Waiting. Nah, maybe She. She is a great song, very heavy for Kiss. Kiss isn't like a heavy band, but She is excellent. She's no good. And the live version, again, is just way better than the Dress to Kill version. So there we go, Dress to Kill. Now, or next came Alive, and I'll double prop here. So there we go, record and CD. This was the Fat Boy. They used to call these, I guess they still do, although they don't exist, Fat Boy CD cases when it was a double CD. So just to talk about this a little bit. Now, if you can see this, I'll show it in a second. This is the oldest thing that I have in my life. There's nothing else that I have in my life that is 45 years old. I don't have any hats, shirts, jewelry, watches, friends. No, nothing like that. This is 45 years old. This is the exact copy that I got in 1975. This is also the only, people like to call them vinyl, but I'm not going to call it vinyl. I'm going to say record. This is the only record that I still have. I had about, I guess from the time I got this was the first one until the time I bought the last one, which is maybe sometime in 1989, because I got my first CD player in 1989. This is the only one that I kept. I sold them all years and years and years ago, and this is the only one that I kept, and I'm very, very glad that I did. I regret getting rid of all the other ones, but at the time it was the right thing to do. Now, as that it's 45 years old, it's in, I mean, this is worthless to anybody but me, and I would never sell it or do anything with it, and nobody would want to buy it, because it's in Horrible condition. This is not NM or VG or G. This is S for shitty. That's my new ranking system. This is S for shitty. And I don't know if you can see, but it has my name there, Danny Delaney. I used to go by Danny when I was a young kid, and for some reason my sister wrote Danny Delaney on it. And there it is from there, and you can see it's beat up here, and it's got the classic ring, the record ring around it. And if I open it up, I don't have the booklet. That kills me that I don't have the book, and I don't know why. Because man, I used to, if I had studied books in school as hard as I studied the Kiss book that came with this, I'd be on top of the world right now. But there it is. There's Kiss Alive. I mean, it should be pretty clear to anybody if anybody wants to know, why I listen to Kiss or why I listen to the music that I like now. And I've said this before, but man, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. When that's the first thing you get, how can you like anything else? And the actual records, and you can see it's falling apart here. The actual record. Also, my sister, I don't know if you can see, Danny Delaney, put my name on it, and on the other side, Danny Delaney. And I thought this was cool because the first record, the first record was this, the Casablanca logo was kind of a sand color. And as I get out the second disc, it was purple of the second record. It was still the Casablanca label, but it had had a purple label. And there again is my name that my sister wrote on me, Danny Delaney. And again, Danny Delaney with the purple Casablanca logo. This skipped, both of them skipped like hell. If anybody remembers back then when you were a kid, when things skip, you would put a coin, a nickel or a dime or a quarter or a penny, depending on how bad the skip was, to weigh the needle, or I guess they call it a stylus down. You would put it on the stylus to weigh it down so it wouldn't skip as much. But these skipped horribly. And let me put this here. I was very happy once I got Kiss Alive on CD. Did I write the date in this? I've talked about this before, I used to write dates when I bought CDs. It seems that, no, for some reason I didn't write this. This was one of the first CDs I got, and I do remember, as I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, in 1989, I got my first CD player, and the first two CDs I bought them both on the same day, was the first album by a band called Dirty Looks, and Ace Frehley's solo album. I got Ace Frehley's solo album, but this was not long after, I'm sure. And I'm surprised I didn't write a date on it. But there it is. And I was happy to get this on CD and not have to listen to those intolerable skips and pops and hisses on my record, which for some reason some people like now. It's cool. It sucked when you were actually listening to records at the time, when you had no choice what to listen to. Records sucked. CDs were very were welcomed with open arms. All right, so after Alive, of course, came Destroyer. Now, just this week, today is Sunday as I'm recording this, just 2 days ago on November, I guess that was the 19th or something, they put out a 45th anniversary special ultra mega super deluxe anniversary edition of Destroyer. Now, they also put out a version of this maybe 10 years ago or something called Destroyer Resurrected, which was, I think it was 2 discs. It was the original Destroyer remastered, and then a remixed version of it, which was actually pretty good. It wasn't that drastic, but it sounded good. Now, I'm not sure why they made such a big deal out of 45 years. I think people don't like, or I think anniversaries that end in a year with 5 don't mean anything. 25 is okay. 10, 20, 25, okay. You don't have another one ending in 5 again until maybe 75. So kind of strange. I thought that they put all this effort into making a 45th anniversary instead of waiting 5 years and doing a 50th anniversary. Maybe they'll do that again. But I actually downloaded it yesterday or Friday, and just to take all the demos, because the 45th anniversary of Destroyer has it's 4 discs plus a Blu-ray audio, and the 4th disc is a concert from Paris in 1976. The first one is the album. So discs 2 and 3 are a bunch of demos, and some of them are. Kiss has pretty cool demos. There's a lot of stuff in the Kiss vault. A lot of it is very good. Some of it, I think mostly Gene's stuff, is maybe not worth too much of anybody's time. But the deluxe edition came with all kinds of something about that, and it's like $200 US. There's no way I'm going to spend even close to that much. It has like a 60 or 70 page book, like a hardcover book that I would love to have. But then after that, it's just a bunch of crap I don't care about that would have been cool to have at the time. Flyers, reprints or recreations from I don't know, magazine ads or record store promotions, things like that. The book would be cool. But anyway, going back to the original Destroyer from 1976. Again, could be a favorite. Detroit Rock City, King of the Nighttime World, God of Thunder, Great Expectations, Flaming Youth, Sweet Pain, Shout Out Loud, Beth, Do You Love Me? Detroit Rock City, that's a classic. I did get tired of it, but there are still times when I listen to Detroit Rock City, I still get very excited. I don't think I can summon that feeling with Rock and Roll All Night, but Detroit Rock City I can. And Detroit Rock City, it's overplayed, but that's a fucking awesome song. Beth. Now, Beth, I distinctly remember when I was a kid, I loved it just as much as anything else. But over the years, it's almost not even a Kiss song. It's an orchestra with Peter Criss singing. What else in here? A little bit of a deep track, Sweet Pain. I don't know if maybe they played that once or twice back then when they were touring behind Destroyer. That's a good song. My favorite for sure when I was a kid, I have no doubt about this, and I remember very well, was Flaming Youth. I'm not sure if it's my favorite now. It is one of my top for sure. I love Flaming Youth. Shout It Out Loud. Shout It Out Loud was another one that I don't know if maybe I got sick of it at some point. But I think what kind of brought me back to Shout It Out Loud was when they did their reunion, the reunion tour in '96, and the first show was at Tiger Stadium in Detroit, and they recorded a video for Shout It Out Loud. And that video, I haven't seen it for years. I'm gonna have to watch it. I think I'll watch it today. I meant to watch it yesterday. That video made me remember why Kiss was my favorite band for 20 years before that. And I think that really made me remember how much I loved Shout Out Loud. In terms of anthems, I would take Shout Out Loud any day over Rock and Roll All Night. And they still play that. I think they dropped that for most of the 80s. Shout Out Loud. God of Thunder, I'm kind of going all over here. I like it. It was never one of my favorites, never. Great Expectations, that's another one. I'm sure they've never done that live. That's a little bit of a strange Kiss song. Love It. I would even say that could be a favorite. Maybe not quite, but I love 3 loves for that song, Great Expectations. My favorite maybe on here, if it's not Flaming Youth, it could be, I think it has to be King of the Nighttime World. Or Do You Love Me? It's kind of funny about Do You Love Me. Lilia, my wife, my ex-wife, she's a big Kiss fan. Maybe not quite as much as me, but she loves Kiss. We met because of Kiss. If you want to know that story, I did a video of this 5 years ago, how I met my wife, and it's related to Kiss. If not for Kiss, we probably would have never met. She loathes Do You Love Me? And I love it. So every time it comes on, we were in the car the other day and driving. I was playing I had all the first Kiss classic albums, playing them randomly, and Do You Love Me came on, and I turned it up and I was singing, and I do that all the time. I think now that, and I guess this is kind of true, she thinks I don't even like that song, but I just do that to bug her because she hates that song, and she knows that I know how much she hates that song, but I really do. So Lillian never watches these, but Do You Love Me is an awesome song. I love that song. But maybe King of the Nighttime World is my favorite from Destroyer. So there you go, classic. A lot of people would say, I would guess if you asked 1,000 people what their favorite Kiss album is, if they knew Kiss well enough to give an opinion, I think the first album in Destroyer would be the top two. I'm not sure in which order. Next is maybe my favorite Kiss album cover. I love, oh, and I mentioned I was going to talk a little bit. The first three albums were photographs. The second three, after Alive, between the two Alive albums, were illustrations, Destroyer and Rock and Roll Over and Love Gun. And God, Kiss fans, we really talk about stupid shit. And I think over the years I've realized that I like the drawings better, from the illustrations better than the photos. My favorite album cover from the photos was probably Hotter Than Hell. This might be my favorite Kiss Kiss cover ever. I love that painting. I love the colors. And maybe also because, as I mentioned earlier, I had this like a outline poster and I filled in all the colors. And so maybe that's why I have an attachment to it. But Rock and Roll Over, maybe my favorite Kiss album cover. And again, making the argument for one of the first six being my favorite. I Want You, Take Me, Calling Dr. Love, Ladies' Room, Baby Driver, Love 'Em and Leave 'Em, Mr. Speed, See You in Your Dreams, Hard Luck Woman, Making Love. Maybe one tiny, tiny thing that would prevent this from being my favorite is Baby Driver. That song, can I say it sucks? Is it strong enough? No, maybe not strong enough to say sucks. It's clearly my least favorite song on this album, and it's a Peter Criss song. His songs were always my least favorite, as I mentioned, but still good. Getaway, Mainline, Hooligan coming up. I'll talk about that. I'm not sure if I even think of Black Diamond as a Peter Criss song, but Baby Driver, no bueno. So I Want You. I had the single, and this must have been before I had the actual record in 1976 when this came out. I had the single of Calling Dr. Love. No, you know what? I think I had the single. I think I had the single. Yeah, I think I had the single from this, Calling Dr. Love, and the live single. I think they put it from they put a single of Calling Dr. Love from a live. I just remember, if I remember correctly, Take Me was the B-side when they had 45 RPM singles. A lot of, maybe this isn't a classic like the other ones, because a lot of these songs were never like regulars in the Kiss set list. I would say only, you know what, maybe only Calling Dr. Love is really the one that was, I mean, they've played some other ones over the years, but I think Calling Dr. Love is really the only one that survived. And that might be my favorite song on this album. I love Calling Dr. Love. Yeah, oh, Peter Criss also has Hard Luck Woman. I love that song. So Hard Luck Woman and Baby Driver almost balance out. Yeah, I would say probably Calling Dr. Love is my favorite on this one. A lot of hidden gems on this. Mr. Speed, maybe most notably. I don't think they've ever played that live. Maybe on some of these Kiss cruises that they do, or when they did that convention tour in '95. But as Kiss as a band, as their regular shows, I don't think they've ever done Mr. Speed. See You in Your Dreams, I don't know if they ever did that either. Love 'Em and Leave 'Em. They had a video for that. I'm not sure if that was ever played live. Making Love live is great. The version on the live too is great. Very great Kiss riff on that one. So let's say Calling Dr. Love is my favorite here. I love that song. Next is Love Gun. God, I'm only on album number 7 out of like 24. Love Gun. Let's see. I Stole Your Love, Christine 16, Got Love for Sale, Shock Me, Tomorrow and Tonight, Love Gun, the title track, Hooligan, Almost Human, Plaster Caster, Then She Kissed Me. As I said, I could make the case for all of them being my favorite of these first classic 6. Love Gun is the one that I most commonly cite as my favorite. Christine 16 is not only my favorite song on this album, that's the one that I've most commonly said is my favorite Kiss song out of all of them, out of 24 Kiss albums, which is, what do they have, 250 songs, maybe something like that? I think Christine 16 maybe is my favorite in the whole catalog. But I also love I Stole Your Love. Great, great album opener. They've opened with that, their shows on a few tours with that, including, I think, the Hot in the Shade tour, which I said I saw twice. God Love for Sale is one of these, like a gem, as I mentioned, with Sweet Pain and Two-Timer, anything from My Baby. I think they never played live, but I love that one, God Love for Sale. Shock Me, Ace's vocal debut. Tomorrow and Tonight was, I think, clearly an attempt at doing another rock and roll night, very anthemic, but I love that song. I always love, and I still love Tomorrow and Tonight. Love Gun, that reminds me very much of Detroit Rock City. They don't sound anything alike, but just that they, I don't know if Kiss has ever done a show where they haven't played Love Gun in Detroit Rock City. So the burnout factor is a little bit, but I still love Love Gun. I think when I was a kid, maybe Love Gun was my favorite. Could it be? I just remember when I was a kid, Love Gun was like, blew my mind. Hooligan, another Peter Criss song. I really like that one a lot. I think maybe a lot of people don't like that. I think Hooligan is a great song. Almost Human is another gem, a little bit of an overlooked, underrated, whatever you want to call it. I think that's one of Lilia's top 5. I know Lilia loves Almost Human. Plaster Caster, I always liked it, but I would say especially since they did Unplugged in 1995, the version on Unplugged is just amazing, and that really put it through the roof for me. So Plaster Caster is great. And then She Kissed Me. I know it's a cover song. I think a lot of people don't like it. I always loved it. I always thought that was a great song. For me, maybe my favorite Kiss album, and I love the cover. Look at that. Look at those superheroes. They're muscular. They look cool. They've got women bowing down to them at the bottom here. The color is amazing. Maybe number 1. Not sure. Next is, of course, Alive 2. So what was really cool, what they did about this, every Kiss fan knows this. The first Kiss Alive was the first 3 albums. This one was only taken from the next 3 studio albums. They didn't repeat anything from I guess during the concerts, of course, they were playing songs from those first 3 albums. But for this album, they only took songs from the 3 previous studio albums, not from the first 3. I never got into this anywhere near as much as Alive, but I did love it. I didn't get this until later. I got this, I don't know, early 80s maybe late 70s, something like that. I know I didn't have it when it first came out. And I remember going into, I lived in Montreal, and there was a record store. Every Friday or every 2 Fridays, my parents used to go buy groceries at a supermarket called Steinberg or Steinberg's. And it was in like a mall or a shopping center, a plaza or something like that. And there was a record store. And I used to go, there was a pharmacy called Knuckles Pharmacy, like Knuckles. And I used to go there and buy comics. And then I used to go to the record store. And maybe if I hadn't spent my money on comics, I could have gone to the record store and saved up and bought Alive 2. But I used to just pick this up at the record store and stare at it, especially Gene. Where's a little bit, that's maybe the all-time greatest picture of Gene, which I discovered only, I don't know, some years ago, that was not an actual concert picture. That was a staged picture. The other ones you can kind of tell that they are, but even Gene, which looks like it's a live picture, it was not, it was staged. So I didn't get into this quite as much as Alive, obviously, because Alive was the first album I ever got. But to compare the two, I think the difference is the way that I've realized and what I've talked about with Kiss nerds and people who like Kiss. The first 3 albums, I like the songs better, but the second 3 albums sound much better. So the improvement on Alive from the first 3 albums, as I mentioned at the beginning when I started talking about this album, is infinite. Every song, all 16 songs on Alive, sound way better than the studio versions of each of the songs, and I like them way more. These don't necessarily some do, but those the second 3, Destroyer, Rock and Roll Over, and Love Gun, they sounded great as they were, so they were not that much improved by Live. Although, as I mentioned, I love Making Love. The live version of Making Love on Live 2 is excellent. King of the Nighttime World is great no matter what version it is. Ladies Room is much better also on live too. The Rock and Roll Over version of Ladies Room is maybe a little bit lacking, but on live too, it's excellent. Love Gun is Love Gun. It's good too. Calling Dr. Love, Christine 16. Those are, I love the studio versions of those, but the live versions are pretty good too. And of course, this one they had 15 songs from the concert, although Tomorrow and Tonight was never played live. Whoop. Got a cut. That's one of the pitfalls of having a cat, is they don't respect the process, the artistic process. My cat knocked over my camera. So I'm back. So I was still talking about, I was just going to finish with the live too. I was talking about King of the Nighttime World. King of the Nighttime World, any version on the Destroyer version, the studio, or the live version, King of the Nighttime World kicks ass no matter what version it is. And there's two new old versions on the 45th anniversary of Destroyer. I think one is like an alternate mix and one is like a demo or a rough cut or something like that. Anyway, so now getting back to this just quickly. So they had the 15 songs from the concert, and then they wanted to fill it up to make it a double album. So they recorded 5 new songs in the studio, which were All American Man, Rockin' in the USA, Large in Life, Rocket Ride, and Any Way You Want It. I liked them all, I guess. I didn't love any of them. Not like I love. Maybe this was the sign that things were starting to change for Kiss. And it was only revealed years later, at least became common knowledge, that it was not Kiss playing on them. I think Bob Kulick Ace played everything on his song, Rocket Ride. I think he played all guitars and bass. But I'm not sure how much. I think Bob Kulick played all the solos on the other 4 songs, maybe. And did Peter Criss play drums? I'm not sure. I would have to check, or maybe someone who's a larger Kiss nerd than myself could clear that up. Nobody's watching this, so I don't know who I'm expecting to come to my rescue. All American Man on the 6th, but that was Paul Stanley song, Rockin' in the USA, Nowhere Else I'd Rather Stay. And then Any Way You Want It was a cover. So Alive too, not nearly as good for me as, although when I got it, as I mentioned, I got it later. There was a period I liked this more than Alive 1. I think just because it was new for me at that time. I got it late, and I'd been listening to Alive for, at that point, 4, 5, 6 years, 3 years, I don't know. So it was nice for me to hear something different. But Alive 1 is where it's at. Or it's not Alive 1, it's just called Alive. There's no 1. Same with Van Halen 1 and Led Zeppelin 1. It's just self-titled. There's a little nerd thing for you. Now, that's the end, except for a couple of more of the last ones that I actually have physical copies of, but I can still go through. So next, and I have all these. I've got every single Kiss album, at least their studio albums, and they have, if you include the solo albums, which I do, which I'm going to talk about now, to me they're Kiss. If you include those, not including the greatest hits or live albums, Kiss has 23, 24, 25 studio albums. I've bought them all. The only ones I haven't bought with Kiss, they have lots of compilations. I've bought a few of those, but not all. I would say the only Kiss proper album with new material on it that I didn't buy was Killers, which came out in 1981 or so. It was kind of like a greatest hits or a collection with 4 new songs. And I never did buy that. And maybe I'll talk about that. So next was the 4 solo albums, which came out in 1978. Very quick I'm going to talk about Peter Criss. Peter Criss's 1978 solo album. I don't know if I mentioned this when I talked about Kiss's discography a year and a half ago. Sucks. Maybe, no, that's not even the right word. It's possibly the worst album ever recorded. It pains me to say that, but at least for music that I liked, if you take all the bands I like, I don't like Reload, and I don't like March or Die by Motorhead. I don't like that at all. But of all those albums by bands that I love, Peter Criss's solo album is at the bottom of it. It's just a steaming pile. Didn't like it then. Even when I got it when I was 8 or 9 years old, even then I had the common sense to know this stay away from this album. And I've tried over the years. I listened to it when I've been on this recent Kiss kick for the last few months. I took a walk and I listened to all 4 solo albums all in a row like that. I walked about, I don't know, 12 or 15 kilometers. After all these years, I still don't like Peter Criss's solo album. Some people will lie and they'll tell you that, oh, I didn't like it then, but it's grown on me. Bullshit. I just can't believe that anybody likes that album if you're a Kiss fan. It's maybe not even that it's a bad album, it's just so un-Kiss-like. I'm not even going to talk about the songs. I just don't like that album at all. And I'll go in the order of how I like them, starting with Peter Criss. Paul Stanley's, that was one I didn't also get until into the 80s. I don't know why, but I had Peter's Aces and Jeans at or around the time they came out. I don't know why I didn't have Paul Stanley's. No idea why I didn't get that until early 80s maybe. I like it. It's probably the most Kiss. It's probably the one that's similar to how people expect Kiss to sound. And I like it. I definitely like it, but it is I can't even count Peter Criss's. So of the 3 that I like, Paul Stanley's is my least favorite, although still very, very good. Favorite song on that one, I didn't like any of the singles from the solo albums. New York Groove, Ace, Radioactive I love. Paul's was Hold Me, Touch Me. I don't really like that one. And Peter's, I don't like any of them. Favorite on Paul's, maybe Goodbye, which was the last song. Or maybe It's All Right. Those are maybe, do I need the track listing for that? What else was on there? Love in Chains. Take Me Away, Together as One. That was a good one. But yeah, I would say Goodbye or It's All Right. What's the one? Come over here. I'm gonna have to dig in to the archives here. Let's see, Paul Stanley's solo album, track listing. So unprofessional. Tonight You Belong to Me. That was an interesting opening song, kind of mellow, but when it comes in, it's a good song. Move On, that's a good song. They played that live on the following tour on Dynasty. Ain't Quite Right, Wouldn't You Like to Know? That's a good one too. Wouldn't You Like to Know Me is excellent. Yeah, I would say It's All Right, Goodbye, or Wouldn't You Like to Know Me? Those are my 3 favorites on Paul's album. Now the next 2, I said I was going to go in order. I can't decide if I like, and this is very important stuff to have a ranking and everything nice wrapped up. I can't decide if I like Aces or Jeans better. When I was a kid, as far as I can remember, I liked Aces better, I think by far. I didn't have Paul's. I hated Peter's, so it was only between Ace and Gene. Over the years, I may have switched. I think when I was a kid, I didn't appreciate Jeans because it was pretty different from what you would expect from Kiss at the time, which when I was an 8 or 9-year-old kid, I guess I maybe didn't have the capability to deal with something that was different from Kiss, which was probably why I hated Peter's, although I still hate Peter's. But I think over the years, I could maybe switch to Jeans. But I'll talk about Jeans first. Could be my favorite. Radioactive, Burning Up with Fever, I'm not sure in order. Tunnel of Love, True Confessions, Living in Sin, Always Near You, Nowhere to Hide, See You in Your Dreams, Mr. Make-Believe, Man of a Thousand Faces, When You Wish Upon a Star, Tunnel of Love, I don't know if I said that. Just saying it in my head, or I'm saying it out loud, Jeans maybe is my favorite. Very, very, as I said, very different from Kiss. And See You Tonight, did I mention that? Which was awesome. Really, really cool on a live. Or not on a live, on Unplugged from 95 or 96. The show was in 95, the album 96. Jeans is excellent. Very acoustic, very Beatles. I love it. Maybe Jeans is better than Aces. Doesn't matter. Yes, it does. Of course it matters. I'm going to say Gene is number 1. But I'm going to go to Ace. Aces is also fucking awesome. Rip It Out, Speed Back to My Baby, Ozone, What's on Your Mind, Snowblind, New York Groove, I'm in Need of Love, Wiped Out, Fractured Mirror. I think that's all of them. Fractured Mirror, one of my very top instrumentals ever. Maybe Scorpions, Coast to Coast, Iron Maiden, Lost for Words, Aces, Fractured Mirror is one of my very top favorites instrumentals. Aces was, I don't know if I knew the word heavy back then as it related to music. Aces is maybe the most rock. I don't know if it's the heaviest, but the most rock. It's excellent. It's really, really good. Rip It Out became maybe a little bit of his signature. I think it was always Shock Me more than that, and maybe Rocket Ride. But Rip It Out was an excellent song. Speeding Back to My Baby. Speeding Back to My Baby. Love it. What's a favorite on that one? Jeans. Did I pick a favorite on Jeans? Oh, that's difficult because I really do like almost all of them. I don't know. I like the really quiet, the mellow songs. Always Near You, Nowhere to Hide, See You Tonight. Mr. Make Believe. Maybe one of those quiet ones is one of my favorite Gene ones. Ace favorite. As I got older, as I got into more music and into metal, I really learned to love I'm in Need of Love. That had a section that was almost like a mosh part. You know, Anthrax and SOD, they had these, I guess, like bridges or breakdowns that they called mosh parts. And I'm in Need of Love had a part like that, the going into the solo, or the solo. Really, really cool song. Maybe not a favorite though. Maybe Ozone is a favorite, and Foo Fighters covered that. Let's say Ozone for nothing else. New York Groove is not a favorite. All the other ones could be a favorite, but I'm going to go with Ozone as a favorite. From Ace Frehley's 1978 solo album. Ace Frehley, lead guitar, Shock Me! And Ace always points. So that was it for the solo albums. What came next? Dynasty. I remember buying Dynasty at a Canadian Tire. There's a store in Canada, still around. They've been around since the 60s maybe, and they sell tires and I used to buy hockey sticks and my hockey equipment there and everything, and they sold records, and I got Dynasty there. I want to say it was at the end of 1979. I just moved, my family from Montreal to Toronto, and the Canadian Tire, I don't know if it's still there, probably not. It's on Lawrence Avenue, a little bit west of Scarborough Golf Club Road. I remember buying that. I don't remember, that was the first one that I remember the store that I bought it. I had all those other ones, I don't know where I got them. Maybe as gifts. But I remember buying Dynasty at the Canadian Tire. I loved, and before, no, it must have been early in 1980, because I had the single. I had the single of I Was Made for Loving You. The B-side, what was the B-side? I think it was Hard Times. Actually, I'm almost positive it was Hard Times. I think I liked Hard Times just as much. I Was Made for Loving You. I loved it. At that point, as much as anything Kiss had done, that was the first Kiss album. I maybe didn't know it at the time. There was a disappointment for me. I still loved most of it. And maybe this is like a retro bias. Something was different. I was 10 years old. I couldn't put my finger on it at the time. And, after you learned that Peter Criss didn't play on it, he played on Dirty Livin' one song. Similar to Baby Driver on Rock and Roll Over, by far my least favorite song on the album. Gene only had two. He had Charisma and 2000 Eyes. Not 2000 Eyes, I was thinking 2000 Man by Ace. X-Ray Eyes in 2000, and X-Ray Eyes and Charisma Gene had. And they are still two of my least favorite Gene songs. I like them well enough, but if I were to compile all of Gene's songs up to that point, the bottom two slots would be occupied by Charisma and X-Ray Eyes, I think. Paul had good songs. Magic Touch, Sure Know Something, I Was Made for Loving You. Loved all those. I loved Ace's songs too. I think at the time, 2000 Man was maybe, Rolling Stones cover was maybe my favorite. But I also loved Save Your Love and Hard Times. So overall, Dynasty was for sure the first Kiss album that I didn't love as much as I loved the other ones, but I still liked it a lot. And then Unmasked came. Unmasked, I like it way better than Dynasty back then and now. I know it's even farther removed from what real Kiss is or classic Kiss. I know that. I don't care. I still love it. Peter Criss, nobody knew at the time. He was gone. He didn't play drums. He didn't write anything. He contributed nothing. He didn't set foot in the studio, I think. This continued the trend of 3 ace songs. He had Talk to Me, Torpedo Girl, and Two Sides of the Coin. I love all those songs. I especially loved Torpedo Girl when I was a kid. Over the years, I maybe started to see it as a little bit cheesy, but I still like those 3 ace songs. Gene only had he had 3 on this one. He had one more than Dynasty. He had She's So European, Naked City, and You're All That I Want. And again, I didn't love any of those like I loved his old stuff. Probably my favorite of the Gene songs on Unmasked. Maybe You're All I Want. I like that one. I like them, but Gene was disappointing me at this time. Paul's songs were excellent too. Maybe my favorite, did I pick a favorite on Dynasty? Favorite on Dynasty, let's say, is probably Sure Know Something. I think is my favorite from Dynasty. Favorite on Unmasked, Paul's songs, he had Is That You, which I loved. When I first heard that, when I put it on, I loved it. Sure Know Something. Sorry, I'm going back to Dynasty. Is That You, Shandy, Tomorrow, What Makes the World Go Round. I think was that it? Did Paul have 4 songs on Unmasked? Probably one of Paul's is my favorite, and maybe Tomorrow. Oh, Easy As It Seems. I forgot about that one. So Paul had, what's that, 5? Easy As It Seems, Tomorrow, and What Makes the World Go Round. One of those ones, let's say, Tomorrow. We'll go with Tomorrow, my favorite on Unmasked. What came after that? I feel like I forgot about Double Platinum. Double Platinum came out in 1978, just a compilation album. It had a couple of different versions of some old songs. Hard Luck Woman was a little bit different. The drums came in instead of at the same time as the vocal. They came in, I think, at the end of the first verse. Strutter was Strutter 78. It was a little bit different. It had a little bit of a disco feel. I think Calling Dr. Love maybe was a little bit different. Compilation album, not too much to say about that, but I want to be comprehensive. The Elder came next, and I can tell you The Elder, I'm sure still, people love to say to this day. So I'll say still to the, I don't like saying that, I'll say still. I'm sure that I've only listened to The Elder once in my whole life, from beginning to end once, and that was 10 years ago maybe. I still don't know, I know the song titles, I know Mr. Blackwell, The Oath, Escape from the Island, World Without Heroes, Under the Rose. I know the song titles. I would say about half the songs, maybe 3 or 4 of them, I have no idea how they go. Don't know one word from them. I never liked World Without Heroes when that came out. I never bought that album until it was probably in, I want to say I bought that in 87, and it was just a complete. And no, maybe, you know what, I'm sure I listened to it back then, at least once at the time. So I've listened to it twice. I'll amend my answer. There's nothing wrong with changing your answers. You're not a flip-flopper or a fence sitter. Sometimes you're free to change your mind or to change your story. And still don't care about The Elder. It's like a 0 album for me. I have nothing to say about The Elder. And then next came, that was in 1981 and 82, and then Killer came somewhere around there. As I mentioned, that was the only Kiss album that had new material that I never bought. It had 4 new songs, which I know I've heard them. I don't know one note of them. They were Run for Your Life was one. I can't even remember the titles. Don't know anything about those songs. Never bought that album. Creatures of the Night was next, and that was not another one that I didn't buy until later. Maybe I bought that one also around 87. Maybe I went back and bought some of these. And I just never, I know this is a contrary opinion, I think, to most Kiss fans. I never liked Creatures of the Night as much as most people, I think. I know it had a great sound. It was a return somewhat to a classic Kiss sound. It was much more rock, obviously, than Unmasked and Dynasty. The drums sounded great. I did love I Love It Loud. When I heard that was on the radio, and I love that song. but I never bought it at the time. And then when I did buy it, what's on there? Saint and Sinner, I guess, was pretty good. And by the way, I can't pick a favorite from The Elder. I'm not nearly familiar enough with it to pick a favorite. Saint and Sinner, Keep Me Coming, Creatures of the Night, I Still Love You, Rock and Roll Hell. What else is on Creatures of the Night? I don't know. My favorite, maybe Keep Me Coming or Saint and Sinner. Probably Keep Me Coming. But for me, Creatures of the Night was and still is not even close to being a favorite. I like Unmasked better than Creatures of the Night. Maybe Dynasty. Do I like Dynasty better? Unmasked for sure. So there's Creature of the Night. Now, Lick It Up. I'm gonna make I think a bold statement here. Lick It Up is maybe my favorite Kiss album from the I would never say non-makeup era. That's stupid. The makeup had nothing to do with anything. Of the non-original members, the albums they did, the 6 solo albums, sorry, the first six studio albums, Lick It Up is maybe my 7th favorite album in Kiss's catalog. Every song on Lick It Up is really, really, I would even say, fucking awesome. Lick It Up, 1,000,000 to 1. And it was classic Kiss, 5 Gene songs, 5 Paul songs. Nobody else. Peter and Ace were gone at that point. So Paul had Lick It Up, 1,000,000 to 1, Give Me More, Exciter, All Hell's Breaking Loose. I guess, yeah, that was a Paul song. I think of it as a Gene song, but it was Paul. And Gene had Dance All Over Your Face, and On the Eighth Day, Young and Wasted, Fits Like a Glove, and I feel like I'm missing one. Fits like a Glove, Young and Wasted, On the Eighth Day. Can't remember, but no, I'm going to remember. Focus, Gene, Lick It Up. He has Fits Like a Glove, Young and Wasted, Dance All Over Your Face, and On the Eighth Day. Shit, I can't think of it. I'm going to have to go to the archives here. And if you're watching this, and nobody is, you're probably screaming at your device now because you know it and I don't. Maybe I said it and I just maybe I thought I repeated it or something. It's so hard to find that. The big catalog Kiss does. Here we go. Lick It Up. Lick It Up. Track listing. Dead Time. That's what this is called. Dead Time. Horrible in Show Business. All right, Gene had Not for the Innocent. Maybe I missed saying Not for the Innocent. Not for the Innocent. Young and Wasted. Fits Like a Glove. Dance All Over Your Face. And On the Eighth Day. Favorite from Lick It Up. That's hard to... I love 1,000,000 to 1. Let me do it. For Paul's songs... Yeah, probably 1,000,000 to 1 from Paul's, and of Gene's. Fits Like a Glove. Dance All Over Your Face, maybe. Oh, I can't do it. Let's say 1,000,000 to 1, maybe. But this was a great equal album for Gene and Paul, just like their 70s stuff. So Lick It Up. Amazing Kiss album. Phenomenal, outstanding, awesome, whatever adjectives you want to use, positive adjectives, I would apply those to Lick It Up. Next came Animalize. Animalize, a little bit of a disappointment again. For me, they went back. Gene, at this point, Gene started to suck. He had While the City Sleeps, sucks. Murder in High Heels, sucks. Burn Bitch Burn. Kind of funny, I'm going to put my log in your fireplace, but kind of sucks. This was a real Paul album, and Kiss should be both. I've Had Enough, Into the Fire, Heaven's on Fire, Thrills in the Night, Under the Gun. Paul's songs were good, Gene's not very good, which I was going to say kind of continued for the rest of the 80s. Favorite on Animalize. It's definitely not a Gene song. Maybe Under the Gun or Thrills in the Night. I always like Thrills in the Night. I'm going to say Thrills in the Night. But maybe if I listen to it again, it's been a while since I've listened to the whole thing, but I would maybe change that to Under the Gun. I don't know, but yeah, very uneven. Very similar to Asylum, although overall I liked Asylum much more, and I can tell you right off the bat, my favorite on Asylum is Gene's song, Secretly Cruel. And I liked it, kind of a cheesy album, and I really liked All Night. Well, we work all day and we work all day and we work all day and well, there's just one thing that money can. If your body's been starved, feed your appetite. When you work all day, we gotta all night. I love. Excuse me. I love that song. Very cheesy, but I like a lot. Tears Are Falling is also excellent. King of the Mountain. What else is on Asylum? Radar for Love. What else did Gene have? Help me out here. What else did Gene have on Asylum? Secretly Cruel is my favorite. I'm going to have to take a look again. Asylum. I can't open my phone. All right, let me take a look at Asylum. More dead time. I'll keep talking just so it doesn't seem as dead, which is actually maybe more annoying for you to just hear me fill time, which is what I've been doing now for, I guess it's been over an hour. Oh my God, they have such a huge catalog. It's hard to find. All right, where I was on Asylum. Asylum. What did Gene have on Asylum? Gene had Any Way You Slice It. Who Wants to Be Lonely? That was another good Paul song. Trial by Fire, that song wasn't very good. I'm Alive, didn't really like that one too much. That was a Paul, kind of a fast, up-tempo song. Didn't like it too much. Love's a Deadly Weapon, another Gene song. It was not that great. Tears Are Falling, excellent song. Secretly Cruel, my favorite on the album. Radar for Love, All Night. So better than Animalize and better than the next album, which I'll get to now, which was Crazy Nights. It was kind of, I think at this point I've been listening to Kiss for 10, 11, I guess, 12 years, something like that. And it's funny to think because 12 years now is not that long, but in those 12 years, Kiss put out, my phone just died. Kiss put out many albums in those 11 or 12 years. And at that point, I think I didn't want to admit either to myself or maybe to my friends that Kiss just wasn't doing it for me as much anymore. And when Crazy Nights came out, I think I didn't like it, but I either done it, as I said, maybe didn't want to admit to myself. But looking back on it, it's not very good. They were following the trends, a lot of keyboards on that album. They were maybe, sad to say this, but maybe they were being influenced by like Bon Jovi and Rat. And I love Rat. Bon Jovi, not so much. But a lot of keyboards, and just not a very good album. What was on that? I'll Fight Hell to Hold You is I'm sure my favorite. Other than that, Crazy Crazy Nights, what else was on there? Reason to Live. Another bad Gene album. No, No, No sucks. One of the worst Kiss songs, I think, in their catalog. Although maybe I liked it at the time just because it was fast and maybe it seemed like a rocker. I seem to remember liking it more. No, No, No. What else? I'll Fight Hell to Hold You. Was Read My Body on Crazy Nights or Hot in the Shade? I think it was on Crazy Nights. Turn on the Night, My Way, Thief in the Night. Again, I can't think of the Gene songs. Kiss was definitely Paul back then. And it was very melodic too. Everyone's thinking this a lot tonight. What song was that? That was My Way, I think. Very melodic. Just not a very good Kiss album. And the title track, very cheesy. You Are My People. Here's a little song for everybody out there. People try to take my soul away, but I don't hear the rap that they all say. And they've brought that back in the set list in somewhat recent years, maybe even now in the tour they're doing now. So Crazy Nights, not a very good album. Although better than the next album, which was Hot in the Shade, which I guess I'll say my favorite on that was Rise to It, the first song. That had like 15 songs on it, none of them very good. Eric Carr sang his first song with Kiss, which was Little Caesar, and there's a demo of that called Ain't That Peculiar. What else is on that? When Your Walls Come Down. Oh, Forever. No, Forever was a really good... Oh, and Reason to Live was on Crazy Nights. I don't know if I mentioned that. Forever was a very good song. That was a good Kiss ballad. That was on Hot in the Shade. So maybe that or Rise to It were good songs. Other than that, I don't really remember. If I saw the track listing, which I can't look because my phone died. Tommy, what was the song about a Cadillac? Not Slick Black Cadillac. That was Quiet Riot. Cadillac Dreams. There's a song called Cadillac Dreams, a Gene song. Not very good. Oh, and The Street Giveth, The Street Taketh Away. Very forgettable. So Hot in the Shade, not very good. Now I forgot, I think it was just before Hot in the Shade, they put out another compilation called Smashes, Thrashes, and Hits, which I bought at the time. I don't know why. I guess just to fill my collection. There was Eric Carr singing Beth. I mentioned that he sang Little Caesar. But before that, he'd sang Beth. And I think there's really nothing that's worthwhile on Smashes, Thrashes, and Hits. Not sure why it existed. What was next? Revenge. Oh, now Revenge is quite... I'm a little bit mixed. I think I don't like it as much as a lot of people. A lot of Kiss fans would say that's like... I think a lot of people would put that up with any of their classic 70s album. I wouldn't go that far. There are a couple of songs on there that are just so-so. But some of my real favorite Kiss songs, my favorite for sure, there are two. But I would have to say my number one favorite Kiss song on Revenge is Spit. That was Gene and Paul both singing that, which was, it reminded me of classic Kiss. Got no manners and I'm not too clean, but I know what I like, if you know what I mean. What'll people say, well, Mister Can't You See It, don't mean spit to me. Good God, Lord above, want a lot of woman with a lot of love. Well, Dan is in, but it's plain to see, it don't mean spit to me. I need big hips, sweet lips. And then Paul sings, make a man of me. The bigger the cushion, the better the pushing. More definitely. I can't do Gene's voice, or Paul's voice, or anybody's voice. Spit is a great, great song. Very, very close to being a favorite, but not quite as Unholy. I think it was cool to see Gene. That was the first Gene single or video that they had done, I think since, for sure since I Love It Loud. That was 10 years. So, and it was a great song, heavy song, good heavy. And what else? Take It Off was an excellent song. I Just Wanna was excellent. Heart of Chrome was pretty good. I can't say anything bad about Revenge. Like I said, maybe not, I don't like it as much as most people. But it's definitely of that era, let's say from when the classic era ended up until even now, probably my second favorite after Lick It Up. I like it. I for sure like Revenge better than Creatures of the Night, which maybe a lot of people do. I'm not sure what people's opinion is about Kiss albums. And then, so that was 92. What came next? I guess it was... Oh, of course, Alive 3. I guess I liked it well enough at the time. There's no way it could ever live up to the first two live albums, but it was pretty good. There were some good versions on there. Watching You was on there. Take It Off was on there. It was a mix of, some Lick It Up, I think, was on there. A mix of some 80s era songs up to that point and some classics. Rock and Roll All Night, obviously, Detroit Rock City, Love Gun. They opened with Creatures of the Night on that tour and on that album. So it's pretty good. Like I said, it would be impossible for me to like it as much as I liked the first two Alive, but I can't say too much. I can't say anything bad about Alive 3. It just didn't have the impact on me. Then, this is where it got really fun to be a Kiss fan. In 90, and that was 93, the Alive 3 came out. So they did this, as I mentioned before, the Kiss Convention Tour in 95, where they played acoustic in a bunch, maybe 10 or 15 cities. And they recorded, of course, the Unplugged album, the MTV Unplugged album. They did that in New York. That is better. I don't consider that a live album. I consider it a standalone. It's kind of like obviously it is live. They played live, but it's not alive like the Kiss albums. I don't know where I would put it, but man, oh man, I listened to that when that came out. When MTV Unplugged came out, I listened to that as much as any Kiss album, at least since I was a kid. And I was 26 years old when that came out. That really, there have been a couple times, that really got me hooked in Kiss again. Best set list they've ever done, and maybe it's only because there were a lot of songs that they hadn't done that they did on Unplugged. See You Tonight from Gene's solo album, Plaster Caster, Coming Home from Hotter Than Hell, second to last song, that is, Coming Home, on Hotter Than Hell, the opening song on Unplugged. What else was it? 2000 Man, although I guess they did that on the Dynasty tour. There were some leftover songs that weren't on the album that they put on the Kiss box set, which I guess was next. Or I'll talk about that. Nothing to Lose. Got to Choose. I don't know why they didn't put this on the actual album. God of Thunder. They did kind of a funny version of God of Thunder. Now, my favorite on Unplugged. That's really hard. I don't know. I loved hearing those live. The Plaster Caster, Coming Home, and See You Tonight. It's got to be one of those three. Oh, and Going Blind too. I think they had never done Going Blind up to that point. Those four were amazing. Let's say. I guess just for the surprise factor, Going Blind. That was such a big surprise that they did that. But any of those four, See It Tonight, Going Blind, Plaster Caster, and Coming Home, and all the rest of them are great too. Even Rock All Night was cool to hear on that one. So Unplugged, the MTV Unplugged, amazing Kiss album, as good as anything they've done. Now this was when they got back together and they did the reunion tour, and then they did Psycho Circus, which was psycho shitty. One of the biggest disappointments ever. This was going to be the first Kiss album with all the original guys since, you could make the argument, since Love Gun, or at least, on the surface, their first one since Unmasked. And it essentially was like Unmasked. Peter Criss didn't play on it, or maybe he played on one song, the song that he sang, which I can't even remember the name of. I think a guy called Kevin Valentine played the drums on the whole album, except for the song that Peter Criss sang. I Finally Found My Way to You. Is that what it's called? Ace, I'm not sure how much he contributed to the album. He had a song called Into the Void. And so I thought, wow, there's a Peter song, there's an Ace song, and then there's like 4 songs each from Gene and Paul. It's going to be a classic Kiss album. And even then, not knowing that Ace and Peter didn't play on it, I didn't know then, or maybe there were rumors. I didn't like it. Just way too cheesy. They had Psycho Circus, which was about a live Kiss concert. The amplifiers start to hum. That song sucks. I Pledge Allegiance to the State of Rock and Roll. You Wanted the Best. These songs suck. They were clearly, going for an anthem like Rock and Roll All Night, maybe Shout Out Loud, maybe even Tomorrow and Tonight. And my favorite on that album for sure is Within, a Gene song. And I would say that's even the only song that I like, so it's pretty easy to choose a favorite. And I do like that one. It's pretty good. Now I forgot. There's one before that, which was another compilation album, which was You Wanted the Best, which was a combination of, about 4 or 5 or 6 songs from each of the Alive and Alive 2. And was it 3 or 4 old new songs that they said were recorded way back then, but just not included. Ladies, was it Ladies in Waiting or Two-Timer? Two-Timer, I think. Let Me Know and Take Me. The most obvious thing in the world that these were not recorded in 1975 or 76 or 74. These were clearly Kiss from 1996. And they clearly weren't recorded live. They recorded them in the studio. And I don't mind them. They're pretty good versions. Oh, Room Service was on there too. But man, Kiss, they've been full of shit about a lot of things. And that was a pretty egregious one that people, and I knew at the time, without even reading on the internet, as soon as I heard these, I knew I'd been listening to Kiss for 20 years at that point, and Room Service didn't sound like it was recorded in 1975. Neither did Two Timer or Let Me Know or Take Me. Those are the 4 songs. Good, but come on, Kiss. You can't fool the Kiss nerds. So what else? So I went to Psycho Circus. Now also at some point they put out another compilation called Greatest Kiss, which that was into the 2000s. I'm not even sure. That one I never bought. They put out Kiss Icons, another compilation, which I never bought. But I guess the next one that I bought after Psycho Circus was the box set, which was 2001, which I think at the time, but maybe again I didn't want to admit it, and in retrospect I can admit it, was a little bit disappointing when you consider the amount of unreleased stuff that they have there. Their vault is huge. And they put out, the first disc had lots, maybe of the 15 or 16 or 18 songs on the first disc of the 5-disc box set. Maybe 10 or 12 of them were unreleased. There were 3 Wicked Lester songs. I think She, Keep Me Waiting, and Love Her All I Can, I think. Wicked Lester versions. There were some demo versions of, I think, Firehouse, maybe Deuce. And then the second disc maybe only just had 5 songs that were unreleased. And then the third disc had 2 or 3. So the later they got, the discs were in chronological order of their career. And as I've talked about, I didn't care too much about Kiss during the 80s. So the few songs that were unreleased from the 80s were not that good. So box set, the book was cool, and I did buy it. It's at my parents' house in Canada. I would like to have it again now because I haven't looked at it for years and years. But that's one that recently I've downloaded, all the rarities that were from that album. So box set, and I wish Kiss would do, because now they're putting out, as I mentioned, they put out the other day, this Kiss Destroyer 45th anniversary with a decent amount of unreleased material. There was a deluxe or bonus version of Love Gun, maybe 2012 maybe, that had also a few. It had Reputation, Much Too Soon, and another one that were unreleased. I wish Kiss would just put everything together and put it out in 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know how much market there is to put out physical product these days, but I wish they would record them. I mean, release them officially, even if it's digital. I don't care if it's actual CDs. Rock and Roll Over has tons and tons of unreleased stuff, and I think Love Gun does too. So that's the box set. I'm almost finished, and my voice is starting to waver. Let me just take a little break. I think I need to get a drink. I will be right back. All right, I'm well lubed now. I feel revitalized, re-energized. So getting back to the Kiss discography, and I'm almost finished. There were a couple more, I can't remember when. They did 2 more live albums. They did a live, I guess it was a live 4, which was the album that they did in Australia with the Symphony. And I bought that and never got into it. I think I listened to it once, never touched it again. I think it just didn't, I don't really like the Metallica Symphony albums either. I don't know why, I just don't like the way they sound. But I did buy that, the Kiss Symphony, which I think they did officially call Alive 4. And then at some point they did an Alive box set, which was the first, I think it was just the first 2, Alive and Alive 2. And then they included, I'm not sure if this was included in the same thing, they did, at some point, well, they did a Millennium concert at the end of '99 going into 2000. In Vancouver, and I think that was maybe that was Alive 4, and the Symphony album was Alive 5, I can't remember. I don't think I ever... No, if I remember correctly, the Vancouver concert for the Millennium was recorded at the Millennium, but then released many years later, maybe as part of this box set in 2007, 8, something like that. I don't think I ever listened to it. I'm not sure. So those 2, the first 2 are the Kings live albums, Alive. Alive 3 is also very good. After that, they lost me with the live albums, except for Unplugged, which is not part of the Alive series. And then came 2009. I'll go back to the physical product. Sonic Boom! And this was the art, for what it's worth. The artwork was done by the same guy who did Rock and Roll Over. Don't know his name. I know Dennis Woloch did Destroyer, but I can't remember this guy's name. This album was not bad. It's not my favorite, but at least there were some good songs. My favorite by far is, was it the fourth song? 1, 2, 3. The fourth song, Yes, I Know, Nobody's Perfect. I'll talk about that in a second. Let me talk about the album in general here. This was okay. Modern Day Delilah this was the first new Kiss album since Psycho Circus 11 years earlier. Yeah, it was. So it was, there was some anticipation for it, a lot of anticipation. And of course, this was the first one with Tommy Thayer. And the second studio album with Eric Singer. He played on Revenge, of course. And so Modern Day Delilah was the first single, and I liked it actually a lot. I thought it was a very, very good song, kind of heavy, mid-tempo rocker. I forgot about War Machine from Creatures of the Night. Maybe War Machine. Maybe War Machine was my favorite from Creatures of the Night, because I just thought of these rockers, and War Machine was pretty heavy, and it was a rocker. So Modern Day Delilah, I liked it a lot. Never Enough sounded like Poison. That was another kind of an attempt at a anthem, I think. Some pretty shitty songs on here, though. Dangerous, I'm an Animal. Those are not very good. Say Yeah, kind of cheesy, too. That's another. I think they're still doing Say Yeah. Of all the songs they could do, why they would choose Say Yeah is beyond me. But getting to my favorite song, it's by far Yes, I Know. I would even say Yes, I Know, Nobody's Perfect, maybe along with Spit. Those are maybe my two favorite Kiss albums after like 1978 or 79. It's a Gene song. Yes, I Know, Nobody's Perfect. It really, really has the feeling of old classic Kiss, but it doesn't sound forced. Whatever force sounds like, it doesn't sound like that. That's the only song that that and Modern Day Delilah. Those are the only ones that I know like stone cold. I know this as much as any Kiss song. But Yes, I Know, Nobody's Perfect is amazing, amazing Kiss song. The cool thing about this was this came with a bonus disc. Oh, two bonus discs. One was, this was a DVD live in Buenos Aires from, I think, 90... What year was the concert from? I don't know if it says on here. It doesn't say. Not sure. And then the other bonus disc, let me put this back in the sleeve. I'm having a hard time here. And this was really cool. They had this one. They called this one Kiss Classics. And typically I don't really like these re-recorded. Twisted Sister did it with Stay Hungry. They re-recorded Stay Hungry and called it Still Hungry. And Exodus re-recorded Bonded by Blood. And a few other ones. I really liked the re-recorded, I would even say some of them, the re-recorded from 2009, the Kiss Classics, on Kiss Classics. I would even say some of them maybe I like better than the original versions. They're not as good as the versions from Alive or Alive 2, but, and I think there's no track. Oh no, there is, let's see, Deuce, Detroit Rock City. These are the ones they re-recorded. Deuce, Detroit Rock City, Shout Out Loud, Hotter Than Hell, Calling Dr. Love, Love Gun, I Was Made for Loving You, Heaven's on Fire, Lick It Up, I Love It Loud, Forever, Christine 16G, Love Me, Black Diamond, and Rock All Night. If that were a concert, that would be a great set list. Maybe it's a stretch to say I liked some of them better than the originals. Yeah, maybe that's not true, but I liked them a lot. I was expecting to think, why would they do this? And I thought, what a waste of time. But they actually sound quite good, very good, I would even say. So that's Sonic Boom. And I think I'm going to finish with, did they do anything after this monstrosity? I don't think so. So this was Monster. This came out in, was it 2012, 2013? Somewhere around there. Don't care about this album. It's just, I don't know, somewhere around there. This was the last Kiss album that I bought. And let me see, Hell or Hallelujah was the first single and the first track. It was okay, not bad. After that, Wall of Sound, Freak. Freak was just terrible. It was a Paul Stanley song. The lyrics were, it's Paul Stanley. At this point, he was 60, 61, 62, 59 years old, talking about what a freak he is. He has a streak in his hair, and people stare at him. This guy's a multi-millionaire for the last 30 or 40 years, and he's saying people stare at him because he's a freak. Back to the Stone Age. I remember the song titles. I don't remember the songs. Shout Mercy, Long Way Down, Eat Your Heart Out. Eric Singer sang one of these. I think it was All for the Love of Rock and Roll, and Tommy Thayer sang Out of This World. I think Tommy Thayer sang one on Sonic Boom too. When Lightning Strikes, maybe, I'm not sure. All for the Love of Rock and Roll. Another attempt similar to the shitty songs I mentioned on Psycho Circus. I Pledge Allegiance to the State of Rock and Roll, and You Wanted the Best. All for the Love of Rock and Roll was another. This rock and roll lifestyle, it was okay in the 70s. I don't know. Take Me Down Below, Last Chance. Very, very unforgettable album. This was Monster. Don't really have anything to say about that. And aren't you happy about that? I've been talking now for, I think it must be going on about 7.5 hours at this point. So, that's it. Woo! Let me try that again. Woo! That was very tiring. As you can see, my voice is going. And so that's Kiss. Kiss will, I just want to do this because I have known to talk to you about Kiss. Although last week, I will add one more thing. Last Saturday, I have a good friend here in Mexico. His name is Puma. And he invited me to his house last Saturday to and he likes the same kind of music. He's a huge Kiss fan, Van Halen. And he invited me to his house last Saturday to like the old days when you used to go to somebody's house, your friend's house, and just listen to music. So I went to his house last Saturday at 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Ended up drinking a lot of beer. I got home at like 6 o'clock in the morning, and we listened to all 6 of the first classic Van Halen albums. It seems that 6 is a big number. The first 6 Black Sabbath albums, which then you could say that, which goes up to Sabotage, which you could say that, and also the first 6 Kiss albums. So you could say that Love Gun would be like Sabotage, the last of the first 6. And then Black Sabbath did Technical Ecstasy, which would be like Dynasty. And Never Say Die, which would be like Unmasked, which were, not that they sound alike, because they don't, but just they're not viewed as classic Black Sabbath or Kiss albums. So we listened to all 6 Van Halen albums. We listened to the full Rain and Blood Slayer album, because we both love that. We listened to Frank Turner. We listened to a new band that I discovered that Puma introduced me to called Knife for an Eye. Knife for an Eye, we listened to that. And we listened to all 6 in random order. Kiss, 1974. Hotter Than Hell, Dressed to Kill, Destroyer, Rock and Roll Over Love Gun. We listened to those. And man, what a great time I had. And a couple of other friends came over too. And what a great night that was to listen to all the Kiss songs with my other friend Omar, who was there too. Me and Puma and Omar, we know all those songs from these albums. So we were drinking beer and singing and having a great time all night. And so that's why I wanted to do this. And we talked about Kiss, and Puma kept saying, man, there's nothing better than sitting around and listening to music and talking about music. And he's right. So I did talk about music last week, and that's kind of what the tattoo and the podcast I did, and talking with Puma last week. That's why I'm doing or done, because I'm finished, why I've done this video here. And I don't know how long it was. It was long. I guess I'll have to see. You can just scroll forward like I'm sure most of you do. These are very, very wasted, hollow words, but I feel like talking about Kiss. I think that's all. That's all I have to say. I could go on and on. I would never run out of things to talk about Kiss or music in general. But there it is. See, I'm losing my voice. I got some concerts coming up. I saw Monolord in Mexico City 2 weeks ago. Then next week in Mexico City, I'm going to see Stoner, Brant Bjork's band, and Nick and Brant from Caius. They play in this band now called Stoner. They're playing in Mexico City, along with Sean Wheeler, The Rising Sun, Sgt. Papers, Johnny Nasty Boots, some of my really favorite Mexican bands. So you can stay tuned to see all that. I'm going hiking tomorrow I'll be at almost 5,000 meters tomorrow. In my time, it'll be tomorrow. In these video times, I'm not sure what order these will come out, but I got a big hike, then another big volcano next week, which is going to be about 3 days. We're going to be hiking for 3 days. So a lot of stuff going on, not just in the world of music, but hiking. But Kiss is number one for me. And I don't know how to wrap this up. I think I'm extending this because I don't know how to say it. So I'm just going to end it by saying Kiss has been in my life for, next month it'll be 45 years. No band, you know, people like to say I've always loved them, I always will. Nobody knows if they always will, but I can say at least that I can't imagine why I would ever not like Kiss. 70s Kiss for me is the best music in the world. It's better than Slayer and Metallica and classic Van Halen and Black Sabbath and AC/DC and Pearl Jam and anything. For me, that's the top. Can I wrap this up now? Kiss, my number one band in my life, very important part of my life. And I think that's all I have to say. See ya.